Welcome to another episode of Bob's Garage. It's been 9 months, but the car's going on the tow truck. Stay tuned to find out why. Alright, so we're not even home yet, and my power steering went out. Just look, my belt's not turning. I look way down there, the crank is turning, but one of my pulleys bent or came off. I think it broke off. So I have no power steering, no fan, probably no water pump. Oh, woo! Alright, so we got the car back home safe and sound, and now we're going to dig into it and see what the problem is. So here's the story. We were driving home, and we lost power steering, so I pulled over and checked it out. I noticed that the belt wasn't spinning, you know, the drive belt or accessory belt or whatever you want to call it. And basically the I could see it looked like one of the pulleys is either bent or fell off or broke or something, and the drive belt was no longer under tension. So I immediately knew, like, okay, well, not only do I not have power steering, I don't have a water pump. My water pump's not turning. Yeah, so then I was like, well, you know, I was like, the water pump's not running, so maybe it's gonna start overheating. So go back in and look at the temp gauge. It's not even 3/4, so it wasn't pegged or anything. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, well, maybe I can limp this home, you know, just go easy on it. We start driving, and not more than 100 feet later, steam starts coming out of the vents into the cabin. So what we had to do was just basically shut it down and get it towed home. So that's where we're at now. I don't know if
I'll fix that.
Okay, all right. Grant's filming. So I don't know if I popped or broke my heater core. I really hope that's not the case, because that took like 30 or 40 hours to replace.
And even the tires.
Yeah. So, but we're gonna replace it, or we're gonna rip it apart and see what the issue is. So stay tuned for more.
Look at that side. I gotta do this side. I wish we could just push it up. Yeah. I was just running with these numbers on it.
Alright, here's the problem we're having. We're trying to get the front bumper off, and I couldn't get the passenger side off. It's still hooked in here. So I got the back half of that hooked or removed. I gotta get those bumper quick disconnects. But I had to take the headlight out, and now I can get a screwdriver in there to pry it out. So you can already see I got the back half popped. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is my first time taking this bad boy apart since it's been in the body shop. So this should be 100% OEM.
In a body shop?
Yeah. Yeah, the body shop was the one that painted. Remember when they fixed it? Remember they fixed the whole front of it? Yeah. Okay, so here's how the hoses are run. And with it being hooked up properly, I can actually almost set the bumper on the ground. Before, I was having all kinds of problems.
What's in the box?
But,
I know what's in the box. Something to fix for you.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Want me to open the box for you?
No, not yet. Not yet.
I'll open it later.
Later. Alright, so here's the fog light down here. And I just wanted to take note of, like, the wiring orientation or whatever you want to call it. So, they fixed my horn and all that. But, so I thought it was interesting, but they didn't go up through that grommet. They just kind of went around. And then over here, here's how this is connected here. And over here, I already unplugged this light. I don't even know where it swung around to. Oh, it's all the way back here. They just did the same thing. They kind of punched it into this little divot here, to the front. Alright, so we got the front end just kind of swung around. I didn't want to disconnect the washer line. And so it's just sitting over there, still connected. I got the intercooler shrouds off. And what's still left is I got to put it in service mode.
Hey Dad, it looks different one. Here.
Think so, huh?
Off.
Yeah, it looks a lot different. So one of the things that was broke that the body shop didn't fix was my temperature sensor, and so it's the temperature sensor is okay. It's just like this little plastic mount broke. So I'm gonna have to maybe try to pick one of those up eventually. This is my first time taking it apart, so I was waiting.
Last year we did, right?
Yeah, I took it apart a bunch of times last year. You helped me, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember. Stay tuned for more.
Hey.
Alright, so I just got the car put into service mode. So I just pretty much slid the front clip out here. And now I have a way better view as to what the problem is. So if you look down there, that pulley basically sheared off up here. I want to say this was replaced when I did the timing belt. I can't read what it says on the front of there, but here, let me show you here. It just broke right off. Now I just hope I didn't toast my motor when I first looked in here. What'd you do?
Fart.
Did you fart in my car? Hopefully I didn't toast the motor. The belt looks like it's in good shape still. So basically what was happened was the okay, bud. Yep. So what happened was the alternator wasn't spinning, the power steering pump wasn't spinning, and the water pump wasn't spinning. Along with yeah, the air conditioning. So I hope I didn't toast the motor by running it too hot. Now, I mentioned it before, but I had steam coming out of the vents into the cabin. So I don't know if that means my heater core popped, which, to be honest, I guess I was a little mad about that earlier, but I guess that's not too bad if the heater core went rather than the whole motor. So I figured out what was wrong with the car. The tensioner pulley broke off, snapped off. So I hope that's all that's wrong with the car. I had steam shooting out into the cabin, so I hope I didn't break the heater core, but I probably did. I'm gonna have to bypass it. Okay, quick note to put the car in service position. There was one bolt at the top of the alternator, or I'm sorry, the intercooler right here. There were 2 bolts up here, 3 bolts on the side. 1, 2 in the top left. Same on this side. So 2 bolts up top. 1 bolt on the side over here, and this line for the fog light was kind of run a little bit like that, and then 3 bolts over here. 1, 2, 3, and we gotta see if we can find this part. What do you think, bud?
What kind of part?
It's called a tension pulley. And Grant, thanks for helping me, bud. You did a good job. Love you.
Love you.
Alright, so we're back and we got the replacement part that we needed. So this is the belt tensioner, or the accessory belt tensioner assembly. The pulley was what broke off, but I couldn't find anywhere local that had just the pulley, and why would I replace just the pulley anyway? So this was from Autozone. It was a little under 60 bucks. It was like $61 out the door, and this comes with a 1-year warranty. So let's get this installed. It has a 10mm hex socket bolt that holds it in. That's held in at 41 foot-pounds. And that's about it. This is a 17 millimeter that allows you to actually put the tension, or to wind it back. So let's get this going. Alright, so here's the current situation. Here's the old part that has the broken off tensioner pulley. And here's the new AC Delco part. The one that broke was metal. The tensioner pulley itself was metal. AC Delco was plastic. So here's the problem. Here's the stock bolt that goes through the middle. It will not fit through the center of the replacement part. So I can't even just like set it in there and let it fall in. I have to thread it in, and then it gets stuck on right after it gets to the threads. That's how tight of a hole it is. So this one I can drop it in, no problem. Really need to get this up and running here. So this one, I don't even know what to do. I don't think I have like a chamfer bit here to make this hole a little bit larger. So yeah, I was able to thread it all the way up into here, and then I still couldn't screw it in. It might be hard to see, but this is a little bit tapered here, this bolt. So this upper section is as wide or wider than the thread. So it was like it wasn't even coming out the bottom of the assembly. Stay tuned for more. So here's the idea I just came up with, and that is to take this drill bit and ream this out just a little bit. The problem I'm having is I don't have a drill that's whatever, half-inch drive here. So I'm losing my mind right now. So I guess I'm gonna have to do it with a small drill bit in my regular drill and just go around the circle. There we go. So I just reamed it out a little bit. I just used my little hand battery powered drill. Drilled it out. As long as that's flush, I don't see any problems. I felt underneath there and it is sticking out now. So let's try. Alright, so I remember there was a trick to this, but I got it installed and then I couldn't couldn't get it working or whatever. So I forgot that there was this pin that holds the upper and lower half together. So here's what it looks like with that pin removed. Now I don't remember if I think I'd take a little bit of tension off using putting a wrench on here, and then I can slit or pull this pin out easily. So I forgot about that. So I'm gonna reinstall it. So I had it in the car and I could not get this thing to like rotate or move. So that was the secret. So don't forget about this pin. Okay, so here's the tensioner assembly reinstalled. And the reason why this doesn't really look quite right is because that pin is in. So if you look, you can see that pin right over here. So what I need to do is put a 17 millimeter socket on this, push it down, I believe, to take the pressure off this pin, pull the pin out, and then this whole assembly will swing up to like kind of like in this little area here, and that'll put the pressure on the belt itself. So let's do that. Okay, so this is an old school trick of the trade, but my normal size socket, I couldn't get enough torque to get this to move just a little bit. So I just grabbed a piece of conduit or a pipe, slipped it over my socket, or my socket wrench, or whatever you want to call it, ratchet wrench. And now when I put some pressure on it, you'll see that pin move. Here we go. Alright, so I got it in. This blue piece is my fingertip to my glove. Looked good until I got all the way over to here, and not sure if it'll show up, but that pulley is off one tooth. Yeah, let's see if I can get that fixed. That's probably why I was struggling getting this belt aligned. Alright everybody, so there you have it. We just, we're finishing up putting the car back together. All we got left is the front bumper to replace, or to reinstall. And if you look, I just had swung the front bumper out of the way. So I left it all connected here. Everything, this is a stock OEM B5 S4 front bumper. And this is what they look like on the inside, brand new. So this bumper is about, I would say, somewhere between 6 and 9 months old. Insurance and the body shop replaced everything for me. And it came off really well, really easily. I was concerned, this being my first time removing the front bumper. And the only thing that I noticed was, I'll show it later, but, oh, there it is when I removed it, this cracked right here. So I know, like, everyone always jokes that, oh, you won't find a not cracked front bumper, but here's one right here. Well, I guess it has a tiny little crack. Other than that, that's so if you're just a quick tip for removing the front bumper, there's a little bit of a gap right through here when it's on, when the front bumper's in place. And I was able to shove a screwdriver kind of at an angle through the wheel well, didn't have to take the tire off, and put it down through here and essentially pry the front bumper off these mounting brackets here. So I know sometimes those are a bear to get unstuck or to pop off. And here's just like a closer detail as to why that is. So they got these gnarly teeth that catch, and yeah, so stay tuned for more. What I'm going to do is continue work on this. So we had steam coming into the cabin, and all of my coolant is cooked off or gone. I don't even know where it went. So completely empty. So what I'm going to do is cut this video off here, and I'm going to, before I put the whole front end the rest of the way back together, I'm going to test or check the heater core. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm thinking doing some sort of rudimentary pressure test, see if it'll hold a little bit of pressure. And I can't think of any other reason why there would be steam in the cabin other than the heater core popping. So yeah, I don't think there's a safety mechanism on the heater core that would launch steam into the cabin as a safety measure. So stay tuned for more.